Is it gonna be too many storylines? I was very excited to see Miss Mass. Sarah, what are you doing? Her power was just like innate in her soul, but really unexpected development that happened. I don't know how to continue. We are in for a very exciting reading vlog today. I'm starting, as you've seen by the title, Crescent City, and more so, reading it on my new Kobo Libra color. This is gonna be the first series that I read on my Kobo. First series I read on an e-reader in general. I've only read for like maybe 2 hours on this thing so far. So I think, you know, reading all of Crescent City will really give me a good idea of how much I like this thing. I decided to read Crescent City because I happened to see that it was like available to borrow, the whole 3 books, on one of my libraries that I'm signed into on my Kobo. And I was gonna read Throne of Glass because I've only read Assassin's Blade and, you know, the first book in the Throne of Glass series so far. But I'm still waiting on like a lot of the holds for the series, and I don't want to start it and then read, you know, just the first 2 books, which I've already read, and then have to wait another like 8 weeks for the next one. So I figured in the meantime, I'll read Crescent City. I've heard it's better to read Throne of Glass first, just because I think there's just some little Easter eggs in Crescent City. We'll see. But I've also heard it doesn't really matter. Let's see how it goes. It's 97 chapters. That's crazy. What am I getting myself into? So I've been highlighting like every character I run into while I'm reading, because I feel like I've heard Crescent City is like Throne of Glass and that there's like a ton of characters, and I want to keep them straight right from the beginning. I was feeling kind of iffy about the book at the beginning because it feels very like college vibe, very like TikTok found family kind of vibe, you know, just a bunch of college kids hanging out, though they're not in college. It's just what it feels like. And I was like, where is the high fantasy, you know? Where is the plot? And I read chapter 6, and what was even the point, you know? That's kind of how I felt. I feel like that was a very big turning point in the story. And not to say I'm happy, because things happened that cannot be undone, I don't think. But I feel like we're actually entering the story now, so that's good. There are some characters that I probably didn't need to highlight because I don't think they'll be relevant to the story moving forward, but alas. I'm always trying to think like what's gonna happen, you know, like what's gonna happen at the end. So I'm like theorizing. I'm like, oh, I bet like, you know, this is gonna happen. Like obviously Bryce is gonna be super powerful, whatever. But yeah, I'm already, you know, 7 chapters in, and things aren't exactly happening as I expected. I feel like they're going down the same path, or, you know, heading towards the same destination, but just like not quite the path that I was expecting. So anyways, enough of an update. I will check back in later. I just finished chapter 66, and I don't understand. I'm not happy. I feel like things were going great. I was loving it, having a good time. And I was just not really satisfied with what happened in that chapter. I feel like it just ruined everything. And it was really weird and confusing, and I don't know how to feel. It does seem like all of my suspicions were correct, but I still have 3.5 hours left, 24%. So like, I feel like it could very easily switch around, but I don't see how we can come back from what happened in this chapter. And I don't know how to continue. I mean, I'm going to, but like, not right now. Maybe in like 5 minutes. Like, every page I was reading, it was like, this literally makes no sense. Why would they do this? Though, a couple chapters back, they did make some questionable decisions, which now make more sense based off of what I just read. So like, that part makes sense now. It's really like, Miss Mass. Sarah, what are you doing? These are my notes. Feel drained. It's too much. What was that? So I did end up finishing House of Earth and Blood after my, short 5 or so minute break. Just couldn't help myself, and oh my goodness. So much happened. Like, I was mad at Hunt. Okay, I was. I'm still a little thrown off. But after that, it was crazy. I absolutely loved it. I had such a good time reading House of Earth and Blood. I feel like everything just came together. I was obsessed with the ending. So, one of the few 5-star books that I've read this year. I really didn't think that I would like it this much when I started. The first, was it like 6 chapters or so? I was very underwhelmed. I went like straight into reading House of Sky and Breath. Just read the prologue and also was crazy, obsessed with the prologue, and also very upset to the point where right after I finished reading it, I did a little bit of Googling, Redditing, because I thought I was safe. I tried. So the prologue, we follow like this side character, Sophie, and I'm obsessed. Like, I want to know more about Sophie and her story. Like, I just couldn't. So I had to look it up. I was kind of disappointed by what I found, but the series isn't over, so who knows? I did find something else that was a bit of a spoiler and something I wasn't expecting at all. So that was unfortunate. That's what I get, but I'm so excited to keep reading Sky and Breath. Okay, just finished part 1. My thoughts so far. I do like our new characters. I like Rune's story more. I'm excited to see what happens with his little newfound connection that he has going on. I have an idea about who he's talking to. Hunt and Bryce. I don't really care as much about them in this story. I think the bit of spice that we've had included in this so far was just kind of cringy and unnecessary. I didn't think it needed to be there. I would have preferred if it wasn't there. But I do like the building that we're doing on top of the existing story. I like learning more about Danica. I'm really intrigued by Sophie. I have mixed feelings about Celestina. I'm in like the same boat as Hunt. On one hand, she seems genuine and really nice. You know, when people are like too nice, or when people are just nice in general, you just can't trust them. I should keep this short. Yeah, liking it so far. Yeah, don't care. I'm excited about Rune's relationship. I like all like the new characters that we're following. Is it gonna be too many storylines? Maybe, I don't know. I do feel like a lot's going on. I was gonna take a break and read like a romance novel or two before I started House of Flame and Shadow. However, while I was finishing House of Sky and Breath, we got some characters that I was very excited to see, you shall say. And I couldn't stop there. I needed to keep going. Okay, let me just recap House of Sky and Breath. Overall, I loved, like I did in House of Earth and Blood. So first two books, amazing, 10 out of 10. Loved it. I really love everything that we keep learning about Danica, like throughout the story. There's always more secrets to uncover, and it's kind of crazy how involved she is in this whole scheme. After I read the prologue, I was like, I hopped on, what's her name, Sophie? I hopped on her like wiki page just because I was like, I need to know if she's still alive. But I happened to see a little something about who's working with like the rebel organization. I don't know if it was even in the back of my mind that much, but like I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was who was gonna end up being on their side, but I was still surprised when it happened somehow. I don't know, like I thought it was someone else. Like I thought it was the person who Sarah J. Maas was probably like trying to make you think it was. Like I don't know how I was still fooled. I feel like I'm loving everyone's character so much more. I feel like House of Earth and Blood was more so just Bryce and Hunt. I feel like we got introduced to characters more in House of Earth and Blood. But I really like the characters that we're following in House of Sky and Breath. I really like Therion. I like Cormac. I mean, I don't think I'm as invested in him, but Therion I really like, and Rune. I really like Rune. I really like his story in this book. I'm excited to continue with that. But I'm most excited for Bryce's story and where she's going at the beginning of the third book. And that is why I'm continuing. I feel like it's just been this month that I've been reading Crescent City. Maybe it's been longer, but yeah, I think it's just been this month because I started reading it when I like got my Kobo. I'm on House of Flame and Shadow. I don't think this is a spoiler, but I mean, it's not really anything. I'm just gonna say I am really excited that we're getting some crossovers between her books, and I have to see it. I think it's so funny how much Bryce doesn't trust these other fairies. It's kind of annoying, honestly. I just want them to like all meet up and have a party and like be best friends. And I'm kind of hoping that happens later. I guess it would be kind of funny if it didn't, if they were just a continued animosity between the characters and all the books. I guess that would be kind of funny, but it's a little annoying right now that they can't just all work together because I feel like things would be solved so much easier that way. I think for this, I do recommend reading ACOTAR first. I mean, I guess that doesn't matter that much, but like knowing the characters and like knowing like if she trusted them, how much they could work together, all of her fears are completely like, I don't know if unfounded, but like if she didn't have those fears, everything would be fine and so much better. And it's just funny to know that. Alas, we have to take the long way around, trekking hours through dingy tunnels, all because she didn't want to listen. I mean, to be fair, I guess it is good that she's gone the way she has, but they could have still done it while being friends. That's all I'm saying. I gotta say, I guess I'm a little annoyed with decisions a lot of the characters have made. Annoyed with Bryce. Not annoyed, but I'm like, girl. Therion, I'm also kind of confused by, like, everything always ends up, like, turning out perfectly well. I mean, after a lot of, you know, circuitous tragedies, everything going wrong, and then, like, going wrong even more, and then even crazier things happening. But eventually, I feel like it all kind of comes together. At least that's what's been happening so far. Part of me is like, Therion, you idiot. To be fair, I guess he was miserable. I don't see how this is better. I'm sure it'll turn out fine for him. I will check in with you guys later when I'm like halfway through. Ethan's story in this book is crazy, by the way, at 32%. Trying to recap all of the things that Ethan has done so far. Hero-like actions that he's done. Saving people. This last thing that he's done. What chapter was that? Chapter like 24 or something? That was wild. I feel like there are multiple instances where throats have been ripped out. Or, you know, attacked in this series. So that's an interesting preference for Sarah J. Maas. Interesting. Very interesting. So I just finished part 2. I feel like we're starting to see Bryce have like some unchecked power. When I started Crescent City, I just assumed her power was just like innate in her soul, but really she's just going around stealing it in a manner, which is fun. I guess it's not what I was expecting. Just want to frame everything so it's not a spoiler in the best way I can. I'm kind of annoyed with Bryce for leaving the world from Akatar. I wanted them to be friends. I wanted her to stay or like bring them with her. Talk to Rysand and figure out a plan to defeat the Astari. I feel like that would have gone a lot better. She could have done that and the book would be shorter, but I guess that's not the point. Seeing her in like on like her own planet with like the characters in her story, it's not as obvious how like infuriating she is. I feel like she hasn't been annoying with anyone other than the people in Akatar, which is, they're nice people. They're good people. She has a better relationship with the Prince of Hell than she does with the fairies from Akatar. I expect and I hope that we see our friends from Akatar again. I mean, maybe they don't come back until the next book. I feel like they should come back in House of Flame and Shadow. It just makes sense. But I know there's a 4th book coming out, so maybe we're not defeating the Astari until the next book. So, and I feel like when we defeat them, it would be when both forces are combined, but we'll see. So I'm about like 60% of the way through House of Flame and Shadow, and I've started reading it a lot slower just because I've been focusing on other things. So I feel like I've only been reading like a few chapters every day, which is a lot different than the pace that I have been reading at for the rest of the series. It's good. I feel like I need to read faster to really be as into it. But I mean, a lot's happened. Things that I want to see resolved, and I'm interested to see what happens. I'm on chapter 54. They're in Avalon, exploring the caves and the library. Oh, I am interested to learn more about our new character, Sathya. I am curious more so what her role will be in the book, or in the series. I would imagine she might have more of a role in the next book. I feel like in general, characters that have been introduced, they're like introduced in one book, and then the next book, they have more of like a focus. But I mean, she might be more of a side character like Flynn and Declan, so. She has started asking some interesting questions, and I am still like, I don't know how to feel about her, but I don't know, I feel like she's trying to push Bryce in the right direction. If I had to say, I think she's looking at like a greater vision, a greater goal than Bryce is. That one girl, Wolf, I can't remember her name right now. I mean, to be fair, she hasn't really been around that much, but that one girl, Wolf, some very interesting developments have happened with her. I don't know what side she'll end up being on. I mean, right now, doesn't really seem like she's on their side, but who knows? It was a very unexpected development that happened. Interested to see what happens with her. Obviously, I'm very interested to see what happens with the Akatar world and Crescent City. Really want to see the characters come in. I feel like since we're getting another Akatar book like this year, and then I think we're also getting another Crescent City book soon, I feel like in those two there will be more like mingling of the worlds. Like maybe we'll see Crescent City folks in Akatar. I mean, I feel like we have to. This House of Flame and Shadow definitely happens after A Court of Silver Flames, and so I think the next Akatar book will either be at the same time as House of Flame and Shadow, or it'll be like right after. It probably makes more sense for it to be like, maybe more so like maybe the first few chapters will be at the same time and the rest will be right after. I think that's what makes sense. Those are my thoughts. Excited to see what happens, but I still have 6 hours to go in this book, 40% left, so we'll see. I am sure it'll end on like another cliffhanger, like every book so far has, because I know it's not the last one. I'm a little worried it's going to be as long as Throne of Glass, but we'll see. So I have 51 minutes to go on chapter 97. I'm just feeling like everyone's a little bit overpowered, you know, in my opinion. But we did just, I don't know if you can see that. Very end of chapter 96, we did have a little bit of a twist. I mean, maybe this is what the next book will be about. The whole, what Bryce just kind of did and the consequences of that. I guess we keep going. Only like 5 chapters left. I'm kind of ready to be done, honestly. I've been reading this book for like a month. The other 2 books took me like less than 2 weeks to read each. And I've just been like putting this one off. Almost done. 97. Okay, so maybe this little thing that I thought would be the next book is actually gonna be resolved in this one. It just seemed a little too extreme to be resolved that quickly, but we'll see. We'll see. so much has happened. I just feel like everything just kept spiraling. Like, what? What? Okay, maybe that is what the next book is about. Just finished chapter 98. Still have 39 minutes. Mostly through the last chapter, 5 minutes to go. It's kind of given Christmas special vibes. I thought there was another book, so I'm a little confused. Maybe there'll be something in the last 2 pages. Wouldn't be surprised, but let's see. This might be it. Okay, that wasn't the twist in the last 1 page. I'm confused. I'm pretty sure there's another book. The cliffhanger is that there's no cliffhanger. And, what does that mean for the next book? I guess the next book is just completely unrelated to Bryce or something. I was expecting a really climactic ending, and that wasn't it. I don't know if I read this book too slowly or if I just didn't like it as much as the other ones, or both. I probably would have liked it more if I read it faster. Hopefully you can hear me above the birds. Just finished. Final thoughts. I feel like I liked the first book the best. House of Earth and Blood did not start off strong, but the rest of the book I really liked. I'm kind of questioning it now, just because I really think it's because I read it slowly. But I also, maybe me reading it fast is just me ignoring the not good parts. I wrote some notes. It took me like 19 hours to read. I've noted a few things as I was reading. So many characters. I feel like we got introduced to a lot of characters, which now that I'm rereading this, and maybe that's where the next book goes, because there are a lot of books or a lot of characters that I feel like we still don't really know anything about, or like we didn't get any insight into. Most obvious one being Fury. Like, she's been around since like the first few pages and we still know absolutely nothing about her. Obviously, we need a book about her. She reminds me of the main character in Throne of Glass. Start with a C. I'm in embarrassment. I feel like she could have a large part in the next book. There was some random punk reaper that showed up for like a few pages who had a like storyline that was alluded to very briefly. I feel like he could be interesting to know more about. Sathya, who was recently introduced. I don't know much about her, but she definitely still has some story there that has not been finished. Our guy was going in to check on her. He got interrupted by another character that I think we still need to know a lot more about, because she kind of disappeared randomly. Ariadne. Hypoxia, we've been starting to learn more about, so like maybe she could have more in future books. The birds are so loud. Declan and Flynn, also we don't know much about, but maybe they're just meant to be side characters, I don't know. But I feel like a lot of characters started out as side characters and then became like main characters, so could really go either way. But yeah, Fury and the Punk Reaper are like the main people that I want to see more with. That was my positive thought. Negative thought is that I especially noticed in House of Flame and Shadow, there were way too many like spice romantic scenes. Like, I don't know that they were that spicy. I mean, I kind of like skimmed over them, but like I just feel like they happen like so often, and I feel like the series is less of like a romantasy and more of a fantasy, or at least that's the part I was more interested in, at least after we passed the first book. But I feel like, you know, my girl Sarah just kept sprinkling in the romance, and I just didn't really care for it that much. At least like the spice scenes. The spice scenes, I feel like didn't really add anything, and I didn't really care to see them. I like seeing connections between characters. I like seeing the relationships grow. I feel like we got a bit of that until they started getting into the spice, and then it was more surface level very quick. By the way, they have progressed deeper in their relationship, which I didn't appreciate. We had some relationships that were going really well, and then I just kind of got bored of them. Like Rune's relationship, I really liked it. It was really, really good in the last book, and then didn't care for it as much anymore. And sometimes I feel like the characters just like completely change, and they're just not the same characters anymore. Like his partner, his mate, kind of got that vibe from her. She was very different, but maybe, I mean, I guess that was kind of the point, but whatever. Bryce and Hunt had a lot of really weird spice scenes that gave them some really weird like powers and stuff that I just thought was a little ridiculous. So I think that part of the problem is there's so many characters in the book and so many different relationships that in order to like develop each of the relationship, you can't really focus too much on one. And so rather than exploring the depth in their relationships and like getting to know them more and slowly building out the relationship, it's like you get a little bit, and the beginning is good, and then all of a sudden you get like some forced conflict, maybe some separation, and then it's resolved like super fast, and then all of a sudden they're in love. And I just feel like the relationships went from like slow burn, like gradual build, to they're in love. I was a little upset with that. Probably give it 4 stars on Goodreads. Not that happy about it. Maybe like 3.5. I just wasn't feeling it. I think the whole series I'll give 4 stars. I'm kind of happy it's over. I was really excited for the ACOTAR world to come in, and I feel like we got nothing. But I feel like we did get like what the next book in ACOTAR will be like. I feel like a little bit maybe. Do I have any more thoughts? Yes. I could just like sit here and ramble forever, but I think that should be the end of this video. That was me reading Crescent City. Let me know down below if you read Crescent City, how you liked it, if, you know, it was everything you wanted and more, or, you know, if parts of it disappointed you. Let me know what you want to see in the next books that come out in Crescent City. I'll talk to you guys again when we read Throne of Glass. Bye!